Stanley Williams III, better known as his street name, Tookie, was born December 29th, 1953 in Louisiana. His father abandoned the family when Tookie was just 1 year old. In 1959, his mother packed up his things and moved to Los Angeles, settling in the South Central area. Tookie quoted in an interview that he was often paid money to take care of injured dogs, which later led to him fighting younger men for money. By the time he was a teenager, he was denied entry to all South Central high schools because he was too intimidated. He had gained a reputation in the streets as well as juvie hall as being a vicious street fighter. Because of his viciousness and willingness to fight other youths, Tookie earned the respect of many gangsters on the West Side. These gangs were mostly small-time neighborhood cliques that operated independently from each other, and therefore leadership was not chosen, but determined naturally. In 1969, Tookie got arrested for a stolen car and was sent to juvie hall in Downey. He was 15 at the time. While doing time there, he got introduced to Olympic weightlifting. Shortly after his release from prison, Tookie was approached by Raymond Washington. Raymond had heard about Tookie and how gangster he was and wanted him to join his gang. He told Tookie he admired his courage on how he stood his ground against more established street gangs such as the LA Brims and the Chain Gang. According to Tookie, the thing that stuck to him the most about Washington was that he was similar built to him in the way he was dressed. Tookie listened carefully as Raymond explained the game plan. The purpose for creating the gang initially was to eliminate all the street gangs and create a bull force, sort of like a neighborhood watch. Tookie said he founded the Crips not with the intentions of eliminating other gangs, but to create a force powerful enough to protect the local black people from racism and corruption. At the time, there was only 3 Crip sets: Washington East Side Crips, Tookie West Side Crips, which later would be called the 8 Tray Gangster Crips, and the Compton Crips, led by a teenager named Mac Thomas. The Crips became the largest street gang in South Central by eliminating all the small gangs, forcing them to join them or die. However, a few gangs resisted. These holdout gangs formed a similar alliance to combat the Crips' influence, branding themselves as the Bloods, and would become their fierce rivals. Tookie's former rivals, the LA Brims and the Chain Gang, joined the Blood Alliance and became the Brims and the Inglewood Family Bloods, respectively. Tookie's violent acts became legendary in Southern Los Angeles criminal underworld, as on numerous occasions, criminal charges brought against him ended in being dismissed. During his reign of terror, other leaders of the Crips were either murdered or incarcerated, and Tookie became the godfather. In 1974, Raymond Washington was arrested for second-degree robbery and served 2 years in prison. A couple months after his release, Raymond was murdered. On February 23, 1973, Curtis Morrow was shot dead in South Central following a petty argument. Mac Thomas was also murdered under mysterious circumstances. In the mid-1970s, Tookie began to live an ironic double life in which he worked in a legal job as an anti-gang youth counselor in Compton and also was the godfather of the largest street gang in Los Angeles. Tookie would work as a counselor and study psychology at Compton's college during working hours, then spend his free time participating in numerous violent attacks and murders against the Bloods. In 1976, on a hot summer day, Tookie was walking his dog when he saw a red car slow down and he heard shots ring out. He dove to the floor but got hit in both legs. While in the hospital, the doctor said he would never walk again. After months of intense physical therapy, he regained full mobility, but he acquired a PCP habit as well. In 1977, he lost his counseling job after being implicated in a robbery that was committed by two youths from the group home that he supervised. He was denied an opportunity to compete in an amateur bodybuilding contest after it was discovered that he was a gang leader. Tookie would later appear on the popular 1970s NBC game show, The Gong Show, performing a pose-down routine. Eventually, his lifestyle was beginning to take a mental toll on him, which included a brief stay in the psych ward. The PCP had him going crazy, and he was supporting his drug habit by intimidating and robbing drug dealers in South Central. In the spring of 1981, Tookie was convicted of 4 murders and 2 robberies. The jury returned a verdict of guilty, and the judge sentenced him to death. From the beginning of his sentence, Tookie maintained his innocence. He claimed that the police found not a shred of tangible evidence, no fingerprints, no crime scene blood, no boot prints, nothing. However, the prosecution's firearm expert, a sheriff, he testified during the trial that the shotgun shells recovered from the crime scene matched the shells of the shotgun owned by Tookie. Tookie became inmate CDC number C29300 at San Quentin State Prison in Northern California and spent 6 years in solitary confinement in the late 80s. On October 3rd, 1988, Tookie was stabbed in the neck by Taquan Cox in San Quentin. In 2002, Tookie's final appeal was denied. The only thing he could get now is clemency from the governor of California in late 2005. And at that time, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor. On December 8th, 2005, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger held a clemency hearing for Tookie. On December 8th, 2005, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger held a clemency hearing for Tookie. At a 1-hour door-closed meeting, Arnold described the decision as one of the toughest things he had to do as being a governor, dealing with someone's life, that is. November 30th, 2005, the California Supreme Court voted 4-3 in refusal to reopen Williams' case. On December 11th, 2005, the California Supreme Court denied Tookie's request. On December 12th, 2005, Arnold Schwarzenegger denied clemency for Tookie. In its denial, he cited the possible irregularities in Tookie's trial have been thoroughly and carefully reviewed by the courts. And he quoted, "There's no reason to disturb the jury's decision that he is guilty of these 4 murders and should pay with his life." On December 13th, 2005, 16 days away from his 52nd birthday, after he exhausted all forms of appeal, Tookie was executed by lethal injection at the San Quentin State Prison.